So, I did a few videos with my own predictions with the Oscars, and I actually thought about doing a kind of second thoughts video, which I'm glad I didn't make because there I was going to be very skeptical Oppenheimer was going to be the big winner everyone was predicting. Well, I didn't make that video, and I'm kind of glad because I would have looked really stupid. So here I'm just going to focus mainly on the Oppenheimer sweep. Didn't win every category it was in, but wow, this was pretty astonishing. Now, with director and a few other things, best picture, I can see it. Those are legitimate choices. No major beef there. Again, I do think with best director, Yorgos did make the better film, so it should go to him. But again, it's respectable that Nolan, after so many tries and so many years, finally gets the Oscar. I think that's fine. But yeah, in many categories, I'm wondering like, why is Oppenheimer winning? It just seems it's winning because it's really, really popular. And I guess a lot of people voting in those categories, like, yeah, let's give it to Oppenheimer. I mean, I get it. It's a great film. I loved it. I saw it in theaters. I support Nolan. We can be critical of Nolan, but support him. But this one I think was a genuinely great film. So I'm on board for being pro Nolan and pro Oppenheimer. But I did feel in a few categories like film editing and cinematography, why is it getting rewarded over Killers of the Flower Moon, which was also a really strong film, or some of the other picks like Poor Things? There were respectable rivals in a few categories, but nope, Oppenheimer just seemed to win. Oppenheimer just seemed to win by default, and granted, in a few cases, the Oscar was overdue with Robert Downey Jr. Again, I thought it was an excellent performance, but again, he had pretty respectable competition, but it just got a little silly that almost every major category, what was the point? Like, I didn't see the Oscar live. I just had to go back to the clips. But if you do want to see the Oscars, it's going to be completely anticlimactic because you know ahead of time. Well, basically, it's going to be Oppenheimer. Basically, just guess. Oh, it'll be Oppenheimer. Next one, Oppenheimer. Next one, Oppenheimer. 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 So the Oppenheimer fever was a little overbearing, especially with cinematography, because I think again it was great. It's really strong. It wasn't bad by any means, but I'm like, really? It could have been for another winner, but no, it just seemed like Oppenheimer was going to basically win almost everything. I was really surprised that even in places where Oppenheimer wasn't nominated, why bother? Just give it a prize. I'm glad Nolan had a very good victorious night, but it did feel, beyond a certain point, ridiculous. And then it's like the one major loser was Emily Blunt. You're like, really? I thought she was one of the biggest, strongest parts of Oppenheimer, but no prize for her. So it just felt really imbalanced and silly. And even people who worked on Oppenheimer who did deserve to win, they didn't get any prize. So it was just such a strange spectacle that the weaker parts of Oppenheimer got prizes, but the stronger parts, nothing, nothing for them. So very curious night. But again, the main thing with Nolan was fine. Although apparently Al Pacino kind of messed it up. He just jumped to the winner and didn't even do the tension building. Here are the nominees, and just said, "Oh, it's Oppenheimer." But I can't feel too angry with Al Pacino because I guess what was the point? What's the point of reading the other entries if we know, yeah, it's going to be Oppenheimer? We knew it's Oppenheimer. And listen, Oppenheimer winning like 4 to 5 awards, I think would have been fair, but I'm like, whoa, it got more than half of the nominations. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, what was the point of even tuning into the Oscars? It was just going to be the Nolan night anyway. But I want to work in Hollywood, and I do consider myself an auteur. So if you are into serious cinema, auteur cinema, nothing to complain about. But even if you are a Nolan fan, it just felt really excessive beyond a certain point. But again, good on Nolan. Hopefully he'll take a little bit of a break and let other people win for at least a few years. Because yeah, seemed a little silly. I mean, he deserved it for years and years, but here they just exploded, and I think they just went a little overboard. But it's good he got the prizes, but I think it was over rewarded a few too many times.